Well, hello everyone. We are so excited that you're with us. And I'm so excited because one of the hottest speakers in real estate, Michael Maher, one of my favorite people, his energy is contagious. And we are talking about what if the number one real estate lead gen strategy of 2024 was also the number one side hustle of 2024, and those two are the same thing. So, Michael, welcome.
Always great here. There is nothing better than when hot people call me hot. I'm just telling you that right off the bat, I will do anything you say. I will talk about anything you want, and let's just go start with that, right? So, in fact, we could just end the interview right there. I am so happy right now. So.
You're so funny. All right, so talk about what are you thinking is the number one lead gen strategy of 2024?
Well, let me, if you don't mind, let me tweak it a different way. Let me start a different way, right? So we have an audience. Yes, we have some people on here. So here's the question, right? And so the question is like, what are you talking to your database about? What are you talking to your sphere about? Like, what are you talking about right now? Like and I would be interested in their answers in the chat, and you just tell me what they answer, or you tell me what your answer is, right? So what are we talking about to our database, to our sphere, to our friends and family? What are we talking about today? Like when we're calling our database, when we're supposed to be calling them every day, right? When we're calling or we're texting or emailing, what are we saying? Like how are we communicating with our database today? Like literally today.
I would say the number one questions that people ask are things like, how's the market? Where are interest rates right now? Do you think now's the time to sell? Do you think now's the time to buy? Basically, almost like a market update. Like they're constantly kind of wanting to know that $1 million question of how is the market right now?
Yeah, and you're way ahead of the game, right? So here's the thing. We're probably not calling everyone and going, "Hey, I'd like to give you a market update." Right? It's more, and I saw some people say like interest rates. Like, are you calling people and saying, "Hey, I just wanted to call you and talked about interest rate." I mean, would you call your mom? Would you call your sister and go, "Hey, I know you're really worried about interest rates. Do you want to talk about interest rates?" Right? And it's like the prediction of home prices and the rate decreases. Could you imagine getting into that conversation with your mom or your sister or a friend or even a client? Like, does the client really like, I mean, the prediction of home prices and rate, are you an economist? Can anybody really predict home prices and the rate? Is the rate going to go up or down? Does anybody know? Right? Does anybody know? Like everybody said in January it was going to go down. Well, what happened? It went up. Even the experts were like, it's going to go down. Can you tell me what home prices are going to be in your area? And the fact of the matter is you don't know. You don't know, right? I mean, it's super unpredictable, right? So I don't want to get into the prediction game with my client. I don't want to get in the prediction game with anybody, right?
Yeah,
Down
because
payment
also
assist.
if you told them one thing, like, I've heard this and it's going down, and now all of a sudden it goes up. Now they're like, well, you just gave me misinformation. Now I'm losing trust.
That's right. And I lose trust. We don't want to lose trust. By the way, the prediction business is the worst business you're in. Unless you're an economist or a meteorologist, don't get into prediction, right? Because in those two jobs, you can be wrong and still keep your job. And that's the truth, right? Economists are wrong 50% of the time. So, and they still keep their jobs. It's crazy. Something personal or witty lead into value from there. Maybe, right? Ford. I mean, Manny, how many times can you do that, right? You call them today and you say, "Hey, how's your family?" And then you call them tomorrow and you go, "Hey, how's your family?" Right? I mean, it's like that's just a weird conversation. You can only have that conversation maybe once. And by the way, I would throw out that maybe we use frog instead of Ford as a baseline. And there's a reason for that. Frog is family, recreation, occupation, and goals. And one of the things that we definitely want to talk to, especially networking partners and the people around us, is about their goals. Talking about people's dreams is just super creepy. I'm just telling you, don't ask me about my dreams. My dreams are wacky. Last night I had a very interesting, like love novel type of dream. If you want to hear about it, you can stay on afterwards. We'll talk about it a little bit. And Fabio was in my dream, and that gal from 50 Shades of what is it? I mean, anyway, right? So we don't want to talk about dreams. Let's talk about goals. Also, good time to sell. I mean, right? There's a good one. Jimmy says, "How are you?" That is a really good way to start a call, right? And that's a good thing to say. We're talking scripts and dialogues. Like, what are you shifting market increase in the NODs? What is an NOD? That reminds me of some movie with the nods, right? I mean, what is an NOD? What is that? Shifting market increase in NODs. What is a nod? Can somebody help me on that? Can Douglas help me on what a nod is? Right? Buyer and seller stories. Hey, Jimmy, I just wanted to call and tell you a story. What is your story? What's the story? Now, here's the thing. I just want everybody to know I'm kidding a little bit, right? From the aspect of this. But like Chantel said earlier, is we probably know the questions people are going to ask us, like about market rates. Is it a good time to buy? Is this commission thing going to change things? And so everything else, right? And here's what I've discovered from sellers and buyers that I've talked to is that nobody has asked about the commission thing. Isn't that interesting? Is who's talking about the commission thing? Real estate agents are talking about the commission thing. So that's very interesting is they're not asking. They're not even talking about it. They don't even know. And a lot of them don't even read the paper. I mean, who reads a freaking paper? What is a paper? You know, it's like New York Times had the ad, 6% commissions are going away. And it's like nobody read that. Nobody saw it except for realtors. So, but here's the thing, right? So the best time to talk about the market is when somebody asks you about the market. Would you guys agree with that? Right? When somebody says, how's the market? That's the best time instead of just jumping in and telling people how the market is. Now here's the thing. Now, how are you talking to your database, your sphere? How are you talking to your sphere? Are you using email? And how often? Are you using text? Are you using phone calls? Are you using Zoom? Are you using social media? Are you using handwritten notes? Are you using direct mail? Are you using those to communicate with your data, with your sphere? Right? And that's a question for the whole group is, how are you communicating with your sphere? And some of you might go, I don't communicate with them at all. That's okay. Right? So
Well,
what is
real
the
quick, I
mode?
want you to expand on that frog that you just said, because I think the piece that I was kind of thinking when you were talking is the goals. When you said family, recreation, occupation, and goals, I think the one thing, people ask about people's family. That's kind of natural. How's work going? That's kind of natural. Have you been playing tennis? But I want to dive a little bit deeper because I think what the piece that you talked about with the goals, I want you to expand on that because I think that's gold right there. And talk about really getting into connection with someone because if I want to know what your goals are. I want to know what your dream,
Yeah.
so talk about that a little bit more.
All right. So I'm going to talk about that, and I want to really work that into my main point of today, right?
Okay.
And so Ford is great. It's a great baseline. That's family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. It just never felt comfortable to me to talk about dreams. Like that didn't make sense to me. And then I came upon this new way to kind of look at it. And I'm an introvert. I'm a big time introvert. So when I was networking, I could not imagine a Ford on top of their head, but I could imagine like a frog on top of their head. In fact, right now, it's really easy, Chantel, to imagine a frog on top of your head. I won't tell you why, but it's really easy. So I'm imagining. So what does that make? What did that make you do? It made you crack up. It makes you look up and smile. And that's one of the first things we should do when we're building rapport is look up and smile, right? And to me, people kind of like this. And then it's all right. So you got family, and did you grow up around here? Are you from around here? How long have you lived here? How'd you move here? Everything about the family, kids, that kind of thing. School, high school, you could play the name game, that kind of thing. And then R is for recreation, tennis, golf. What do you do when you're not doing what you do? Right. And then are there hobbies or things that you do with your family? Like we as a family hike, right? And so and you can actually use that as an example. Like my family, we hike together. And, do you guys do stuff together? If not, no big deal. And then the O is for occupation. Like, what do you do? All right, let's talk about what you do. Yeah, I know you're at a networking event, or I know, you do this, tell me what you do. And then you go, what got you into it? What do you love the most? What frustrates you the most? That kind of thing. And then what's beautiful about the order is that then you go, all right, so what are your goals? Now, when you go to the what are your goals, you got to realize you've talked about family, you've talked about recreation, you've talked about occupation. And then when you say, what are your goals? They will either tell you a family goal, a recreation goal, like I want to golf scratch, or I want to move up to elite in tennis this year, or whatever it may be, or they'll give you an occupation goal. They'll give you a sales goal, or I want to add 3 people to, my business this year, or whatever it may be. But the cool thing is there are really 2 main questions that we want to ask others that allows us to deliver more value. The one question is, what are your goals? Here's the thing. Let's say you have a normal conversation with someone. How are you going to deliver value to them? How are you going to help them? You don't know. But here's the thing. If you know their goals and you help them achieve their goals, which, by the way, anybody here can help any other person achieve their goals. We can all Google, we can all use AI, we can all use Chat GPT, we can all use our friends, our network, our tribe. We can all use these things to help others achieve their goal. Well, if I help you achieve your goal, or you help me achieve my goal, or we help others achieve their goals, what will they do? Straight out of Zig Ziglar, right? If you want everything you want, if you want to have everything in life, then guess what? Help others get what they want in life, right? You can have everything you want in life if you just help enough others get what they want in life, right? So the thing is if I know their goals, and they say, like, I want to be a scratch golfer theirs. Or I just actually heard this the other day. I want to be a bogey golfer. And a bogey golfer is somebody that shoots 18 over for 18 holes, right? Or 9 over for 9 holes. And which is a great first goal for a lot of beginning golfers. Well, guess what? I can now help them. I can get them a book. I can Google. I can Chat GPT on becoming a better golfer. I could find out which is the worst part of their game and hire a short game specialist to help them with their short game, or a putter specialist to help them with the putt game. Or, I can get them, whatever it is, right? I have the way to help them. But if you don't know their goals, then you have no way to help them. I do this all the time also, Chantel, with vacations. Like where are you going on vacation this year? Do you have any travel scheduled this year? And I just talked to a guy who's going to Italy and Greece in July. So guess what? They're going to Italy and Greece in July. In June, I put it on my schedule to send them over a book on Italy and Greece. So, but here's the thing. If I wouldn't have had the conversation, I would have never known how are they going to feel? What if they got a book on Peru? Like that's what most people do with their database, right? They send football schedules to everyone on the Washington Commanders or whatever their name is. And they really are Chiefs fans because we're all Chiefs fans, right? Did I mention that the Chiefs won the Super Bowl this year? If I haven't mentioned that, I probably have failed this call. But I think the big thing is that, what are your goals is a very, very powerful question. And here's the other thing that you need to remember with that question is you say, what are your goals? They tell you. You now have a target for adding value to them, right? And here's the thing that everybody needs to know. Relationships, what is the definition of a relationship? Right? Everybody talks about relationships. It's all about relationships. With this NAR settlement proposal, what's everybody saying? It's still going to come down to it's all about relationships. And it's funny is everybody nods and go, yeah, it's all about relationships, but they can't even define what a relationship is. What is a relationship? A relationship is a value exchange. That's it. If there's no value exchange, there's no relationship. So guess what? We need to make sure that we are delivering value. Well, it's like a teeter-totter, right? I have a bag of value. Let's call it a bag of gold. and we're on a teeter-totter, and they have a bag of gold and they're on the teeter-totter. If we both just sit there with our bag of gold, what's happening to the teeter-totter? The answer is nothing. It's just sitting there. You're both level. What happens if I take some of my value and I throw it over to them and they catch it? What happens? They go down, which is really interesting, isn't it? That they go down and I go up by giving value. I gave them value, and guess what happens in most relationships? They tend to reciprocate. They throw the value back to me. What happens? I go down, they go up. Boom, we're throwing value back and forth. Now the teeter-totter is fun. Now the teeter-totter has energy. Now the relationship has energy. So guess what? You want to energize your relationships. It's going to start by you giving massive value first. So hopefully
And I
that.
want to say one thing on that. And what I've seen is, with that same analogy, I've seen people throw that bag of gold to the other person and they don't throw anything back. And they
Yep.
keep doing that with this guy and this guy and this guy and this guy. And then they get burnt out. And then guess what? They go, I'm just going to hold my gold.
Yeah.
Have you seen that as well?
Yeah. Well, yeah, absolutely. And here's the thing about it is you got to quit giving to people that aren't giving back. I mean, that's the honest to goodness story. Now, if you ask me what the secret to my success is, between 9 and 6 p.m., I give to the more fortunate. After hours and on weekends, I give to the less fortunate. And that's it, right? I give to the more fortunate all day long. Well, what happens when you give to the more fortunate? They give back. And in many cases, they give back 2 times, 10 times what you gave them. So here's the thing is, yeah, you're not going to repeatedly give to someone who isn't reciprocating. And that's listen, that's the facts of life, right? Is that's how it was. And the other thing too, is if you just give and give it, here's the other thing though, that's so funny is, Chantel, many times the person wanted to throw the gold back, but the person who gave is like blind. They don't see that the other person gave back, because for the most part, we're not bad at being generous givers, but most people suck at being appreciative receivers. And we have to realize that giving and receiving are 2 sides of the same coin. By the way, there are 3 sides to a coin, right? Did you know that? There are 3 sides, right?
Okay.
There is the head side, there is the tail side, and then there is the edge. The edge is a side of a coin, right? So the 2 sides of the coin are giving and receiving. And what is on the edge is love. And that's it, right? So it's love, right? It's generosity and it's appreciation. Love, generosity, and appreciation. And generosity is one side, appreciation. But that's the thing. We've got to be appreciative receivers as well as generous givers. And too many people are like, hey, can I help you? No. Hey, can I help you? No. When somebody says, can I help you? You say yes. Always say yes. And then you can always temper and taper what they do for you. So always say yes from now on when somebody wants to help you. I don't care if they're 5 years old or 105 years old. Find a way that the help can help. So, all right. Now, so the whole what are your goals discussion is a big discussion, because here's the thing. There's a I don't want to call it a trick. There's a power to this. Is all right. So you go through Frog and then you say, what are your goals? I hope you're all listening right now, because this is a magical referral moment that I'm about to elicit in March Magic. Is you say, what are your goals? They tell you their goals. Then you stop the interview process. What you did is you basically asked them 5 to 10 questions. You go, oh my gosh, I've asked you a lot of questions and you probably feel this is 20 questions. Are there any questions you have for me? Now, stopping at this point is strategic. Now, what is the question that they are most likely to ask you at that moment? Do you guys know what it is? They're going to ask you, what are your goals? Because there's something called question reciprocity. People tend to ask you the last question you ask them. So notice that we have set them up to ask, what are your goals? Now, they don't always do that, but it's only about 90% of the time they do. So now, how would you like networking partners, sphere, database? How would you like anyone to ask you, what are your goals? Would you like that?
Yeah.
Guess what you have to do? You have to ask them, what are their goals first? You got to go first. But the second thing is, when they ask you, are you ready? If someone asks you, what are your goals? Are you ready to answer that question? Like my weekly
You should
referral
have that
goal.
at the top of your mouth. Like, boom,
What?
you should have what your goals are literally top of mind and top of mouth.
My weekly referral goal is to give 10 referrals and receive 5 referrals. That is what I said every single time. My weekly referral goal is to give 10 referrals and receive 5 referrals. Anybody who ever asked me what my goals were, it was the same every single time. My weekly referral goal is to give 10 referrals and receive 5 referrals. If somebody shared with you that their weekly referral goal was 10 referrals out and 5 referrals in, what would you think about them?
My first reaction was like, I need to help find a referral for them.
Well, of course you would. You're the most unselfish, awesome person on the planet. Well, some people are like that, right? 5 to 10%, maybe 1%, honestly. Or I mean, shit. How many people are Chantel? It's like 0.0001%, right? But yeah, you get it. But all right, and I'll open that up to the chat. Is you say, hey, listen, what are your goals? And they go, my weekly referral goal is to give 10 referrals and receive 5 referrals. That's my goal. What would you think about that person? What's important to that person? Is that person selfish or unselfish? Is this person somebody you want to do business with? So Kathy said generosity. Why is that person generous? Giving is important to this person. Why? Giving is more of a priority to build others up, maybe. Yeah.
Well, Michael, we're
Yeah.
running out of time, so I
Yeah.
want you to answer the question, because
Isn't that funny?
that we need to
Yeah.
say, what is the
Yeah.
number, because you
Yeah.
said the number one lead gen strategy.
Yeah. Not even
then
close.
also the number one side
Yeah.
hustle. So we're
Yep.
all waiting to see, what is that answer?
All right. So so here's the thing. So we talked earlier, what are you talking to your sphere about? What if the number one thing to talk to your sphere about was the same thing every day, every year of your career? What if I could give you that one thing to say to them that would maximize your referrals every year for every year of your career? What if now here's the other thing is, we talk about how are we talking to them? What if I told you the best phone call, the best email, the best text message, the best handwritten note, the best thing to say at a one-to-one, the best thing to send in a private message on Facebook, the best thing to post on Facebook? What if I told you those were all the same thing? Like the number one thing. What if I told you that both of those were the same thing? What if I told you the best thing to say and the mode of it doesn't matter? You still want to say this? The number one thing that you should be talking to your database, the number one thing to send to your database, the number one thing to be talking about is an invitation to an event. It's an invitation to an event. Now, I mean, I could give you a million reasons. We don't have time for that. But the bottom line is, an invitation by definition is attraction based. You are saying, you are inviting them into your life. And here's the thing, many will not attend. They won't attend, and it's okay. But everyone wants to be invited. Everyone wants to be invited, even if they don't attend. You know, when 2020 hit, we all became caged and we developed an approach to be enraged. You saw the rage on the Facebook. You still see rage in social media. Everybody's looking for an argument, right? And it's one of those where, guess what? The consumers changed. Now they're uncaged and they're looking to engage. And engage is, guys, people are now developing their new social circles. The tracks were all burnt in 2020. People stopped going to them because they couldn't. You have an opportunity to have people build the track to you as a community leader and an influencer. And guess what? If you're a professional realtor, you signed up to be a leader. You lead them through transactions. So events are the answer. Events are funleadgeneration.com. The number one reason to have an event is fun. It's funprospecting.com, funleadgeneration.com. And it's one of those where, but here's the other thing. You want a side hustle, right? Some people are like, well, I've got to make some money. Well, here's the thing. With events, you can make money making money. You can get sponsors to pay for your events, sponsor partners. Who wants to be in front of your sphere? Everybody, like anybody. And here's the other thing. There are lots of ways to make money with events. You could charge admission. You could sponsor partners, which is the number one way that we did it. And you can also get paid for the leads that you funnel to the sponsors, right? And by the way, we have a system for getting leads and referrals for the sponsors through our events. And when you do that, you can actually get a finder's fee. Here's the other thing. If you had an event with hotel rooms, and listen, this might be 10 events away, but when you do hotel rooms, did you know that the hotel will pay you for people booking their hotel room for your event? Right. And there's a million ways to get paid on events, but the best way. And so guess what? Ramsey just came out with his top 10 side hustles. Meeting planner was in the top 3. Virtual assistant was also in the top 3. But if you're going to be a virtual assistant, why not be a meeting planner? And the thing is if you develop your meeting planner chops, you can use it to develop your business. And I will tell you, events are the answer.
I want to tell you, one of the reasons why I joined and I just love Canzel is that I can get 100% commission, I get revenue share, and I get stock. I am making thousands of dollars every single month in revenue share and stocks. And I now don't have to work nights and weekends on real estate anymore. You know, I've actually never been to a real estate agent's retirement party, and I want to be the first one that people are coming to at a young age. And I want to share with you some of my favorite resources. So if you go to joincanzel.com/free, there's a couple that I want you to download. One is a 20 free lead generating PDF. It's going to help you generate leads for free that you can download, as well as there's one on how to double your business. I don't want you to miss it. Go download it today. joincanzel.com/free.
Oh, I want to ask you about, because one of the things that I think is a missing link and I think is huge is housewarming parties. So how does housewarming parties, I want you to talk a little bit about how they can do it and what you've done with that in the past.
So housewarming parties are, doesn't it make sense that your realtor hosted a housewarming party for you when you bought the house? Doesn't that make sense? And here's the other thing. How much commission pressure did I get when I explained to people that when you buy the home, I'm going to have a housewarming party 45 to 60 days after it for you, your coworkers, your neighbors, and your family and friends. We're going to invite them all. But here's the thing. Not everybody's going to attend, but guess what? Is those that don't attend will get a change of address form. So they know that your address has been changed. And the other thing is those that do attend get a chance to see your home. They get to walk through, you get to celebrate. And guess what? They also all bring gifts for you, for your new home. And you're going to be able to get gifts, but you're going to also celebrate and that kind of thing. And, you know, I'm just going to be the host in the background, and I'm going to make sure people have enough to eat, and I'm going to make sure that the trash is put away and things like that. And guess what? You know, we're going to have a housewarming party for you. So we're going to do that 45 to 60 days after closing so that you have time to move in. And here's the other benefit to you, Mr. Buyer, is guess what? When you have a deadline, you've got a housewarming party on day 50. It's amazing what gets done on day 48, day 49, and day 50 around your house. How many of times you've moved and you've got boxes in the basement that have been there forever and you forgot to take the things out of them because you just didn't think of it? Well, guess what? Pictures are going to get hung. The things are going to be moved. Everything's going to be perfect for that housewarming party. So, you know, the housewarming parties were very instrumental to me going from 37 to 87 to 187 to 205 to 255 transactions in my first 5 years, right? And I became the guy who threw housewarming parties for buyers. Well, I'm not going to feel any pressure from this NAR settlement because part of my value is a housewarming party. Now, here's what's beautiful. In the beginning, 75% of the people said yes. That did go down over time, only because I wanted it to go down over time. I did not promote it. But even in today, if you offered a buyer a housewarming party, 50% of them are going to turn you down. But it's the offer that means everything. It's like an invitation to an event. The offer is everything. Now, if they show up to your event, you'll still help them. You'll still party with them. Same thing with a housewarming party. They say yes, we're going to hold it. But the fact of the matter is, if they say no, guess what? They've said no, but you've offered. So they feel like it's an awesome gesture. And the truth is, it is an awesome gesture. And the housewarming parties lead to the other events. We have, the differentiation here is we have they events. They events are events that other people have, like a Chamber of Commerce event is a they event. A housewarming party is a they event. A B&I meeting is a they event. And then you need to have we events. And the we events are ones that you are hosting or co-hosting. And you have your sponsors, your charities, you have your referral system in place. And so what we did is we'd have the housewarming party, and then we'd invite the people from the housewarming party to our events, right? So I Love You Latte, or National Donut Day, or Earth Day Birthday, or Pie Day, or whatever we had tons of events. So then we would invite them to, well, now they're part of our community. And I don't mean just the clients. All the client sphere becomes my sphere. Not all of them, but 50 to 80% of them show up to the other events. And I will tell you, recency is a big thing. The people at the most recent housewarming parties seem to attend those events more than maybe the closing that you had 3 months before your event. So
I want to
events
say
are the answer. If you have a problem, events are the answer.
I love it. And we have a full checklist for if anyone wants it, it's totally free. Just go to joincanzel.com/free, click on housewarming parties. And we've literally made an exact checklist. You can just copy and paste all of it. We've even got verbiage for the Evite, all of that's in there. So feel free to go there and get that for completely free. So we are out of time, but we don't worry because we've got another session that we're doing. But while we wrap this session up, tell listeners, Michael, where they can find you and where they can follow you.
Well, if you're Chantel's people, you're our kind of people. I would encourage you to join GenGen, join the generosity generation, join gengen.com. That's JOINGENGEN.com. And then on Thursday of this week, I am doing my elaborate 1 hour response to the NAR settlement and what our actions should be moving forward in detail. And I'm going to elaborate, and it is going to take me 45 minutes to do that. It's not, you can go to narjam.com to register for that. And that is narjam is every other Thursday we do a jam, which is just Ask Michael. And I'm going to boil it down. It's not sky is falling. It is what it is. I'm literally going to say, here's the strategic response to this.
And we are going to right now, we are actually going to do a tasting of that. To listen to this, go to the next episode and you'll be able to listen. Or if you can't find it, just Google NAR settles commission lawsuit. Now what? Chantel Ray. And we'll see you guys next time.
Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, leave a rating and a review so we can get this out to more agents. And tune in next week for another power-packed episode. This is the Millionaire Real Estate Podcast.